Hello, folks, and welcome back to Let's Play The Lurking Horror. I'm the Serious JG, and this could be the last video. It's hard to say. We're at 80 out of 100 points. I've gotten pretty much as far as I got off screening before. Flashlight ran out on me before. So, you may recall that last time, we're in theory, our only mission was to finish our term paper, but now we're dealing with the sort of Lovecraftian, otherworldly horror that's come through and is taking over people and is eating them. And I can expect even these. I remember the old Superman animated series had this kind of short, half-assed thing with a Cthulhu that came through, and Superman had to fight it, and it was taking over people and whatever. And it was just like they didn't really bother to do much more with it than just have one episode's worth of him beating up people. But lots of adventure series have played around with the fun of having a tentacled beast that could take over people and turn them into minions and suck the life out of them and enslave the world. So now we're dealing with a bunch of urchins, like just junior high and high school kids who've been, I guess they're kind of the lost boys, but they've been taken over by this thing, and there's basically they're out here with tubes running from their heads into a central monster creature that we haven't quite seen yet. And we try to go down. Oh, I need to click back on my window here. If we try to go down, the urchins lurch almost as one into your way, grabbing at you feebly but effectively. Their pale, limp hands can't grab you, but they can stop you. There's no way past. But now we have a fire axe. What if we cut streamers with axe? The fire axe drives the wire into the mud, but doesn't cut it. Tried the same thing with the knives before, and it didn't work either. There are urchins here. This is a wide spot in the tunnel, just as wet and muddy as elsewhere. The walls are slimy as well. Numerous slots or indentations about 2 feet wide. Thin rope-like growths emerge from a hole further down. Urchins are saying or chanting something repetitive and monotonal, almost machine-like. East. You squeeze your way into one of the slots. The mud coats you with a cold, slimy coat, which makes it barely possible to breathe. You slide out with all the speed you can muster. I didn't mean to go east. I meant to go up. Look around in the muddy tunnel. It is made of sticky, gelatinous mud that's been pushed by something into a semblance of a passage. East. Tunnel entrance. Look here. Tunnel continues west from here, becoming narrow, muddy, and forbidding. The walls no longer seem to be finished as they were. The steam pipe and coaxial cable disappear into the ceiling at this point. What if we cut cable with axe? You begin cutting the cables, and after a while you realize that the inner cables look different, sort of a dead white and slimy. Then you notice that the cables you have cut are knitting back together. Oh. Cut cable with axe again. I thought we could do something with, maybe... Oh, wow. I thought we could do something with, maybe, because I'm wearing these boots, I thought if we cut the cable, they would carry current, and we could, shock the kids or something. Because I figured that's why we have to have the boots. But then you cut these coaxial cable, and they're not power cables. I did not realize this was coming, folks. They're the cables. They're the control tendrils of this monster. Oh, this isn't pleasant at all. Okay, imperfectly insulated steam pipe. The tunnel is comfortably hot and damp. We've gone odd molds and fungi on its walls. Squishy. Torn clots of insulation litter the floor. Along the ceiling runs a thick tangle of coaxial cable. Cut cable with axe again. Yeah. Maybe this is where we need the flask. Open flask. Throw liquid at urchins? I thought we were saving this for the final. They ignore you. Well, in that case, we just wasted it. Ah, shoot. I don't know what to do. I really have no idea what to do. Throw stone in hole. How do you do that with a hole? I have the stone, don't I? Yeah, drop stone in hole. Because that creature seems to be trying to come up here. Down. The urchin's lurch is almost as one. Kill urchins with axe. I mean, they ignore you. Hit urchins with axe. I think you have to kill them. Cut. Oh, wires with cutter. You strain and push the two handles of the bolt cutter together with all of your strength. At first it looks like nothing will happen, but then with a loud click, the jaws cut the wire. The wire, as though under tension, rapidly begins to curl up, disappearing down the tunnel and away. The effect on the urchins is electric, perhaps literally. They twitch, jerk spasmodically, and fall to the ground almost in unison. They have lost all interest in you. Restore. 2. Remove boots. Cut wire with cutters. Oh. Never mind. Wear boots. I figured that's what the boots were for. So, never mind. The same thing happened. They're dead. So, look at urchins. These are not normal-looking urchins. Their clothes are muddy and tattered. They are barefoot in midwinter and covered with mud. Around their heads are draped the stubs of the ropey growth that you've been noticing in this area. Although their eyes are open, they stare catatonically down. A few of the urchins grab feebly as you pass, but none is a serious barrier. Wet tunnel. You are lost in narrow, wet tunnels burrowed through the mud. Muddy, oily water covers the floor. The hand points its mutilated ring finger north and grips your shoulder tightly. So this is a maze. It's possible to map the maze. Now, I haven't really played any of the Infocom games that had mazes as a big feature, the text mazes. Usually you had to sort of navigate them by dropping an item in the room, because you'd have a bunch of rooms that were, described the same way, and you'd have to figure out how to get through. And there would be like, you go up, and you actually end up in some room. Like, it's hard to describe, except to say that when the rooms all have the same descriptions and there's no clear path on where to go, the whole point is that it's a maze and you can get lost, and I can accidentally show my desktop. And you have to drop, like what you would typically do is drop an item in one room, then move into another room, drop an item. So if I drop an item in the first room, and now that becomes the ring room. Now I go north and I'm in a new room with the same description. I drop my flask there. It's the flask room. Then I go west, and I end up back in the ring room. Well, now you know that going west from that room brings you back to that room, even though it's not a simple north-south connection. It's you go north from here and you end up here, and west from there brings you back to the place. And if you go south from the room where you drop the flask, you don't end up back in the room with the ring, and blah blah blah. It's a maze. And this is one of those mazes you can work it that way, but in this game you have a special kind of built-in cheat where you get to use the hand. So it's pointing north and grips my shoulder tightly, and I'm going to trust the hand. I think the hand and I are buddies. Cousin It is not going to lead me down the wrong path. Or thing, excuse me. Cousin It isn't present. Maybe we'll find him later. You are lost in narrow, wet tunnels, burrowed through the mud. Muddy, oily water covers the floor. The hand points its mutilated finger down and grips your shoulder tightly. Same description, and now it points its finger south. The hand points its mutilated ring finger south again. And now it's down. And south. The curtain is a curtain of moldy slime. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. The description did change. You are lost in a narrow, wet tunnels burrowed through the mud. Muddy, oily water covers the floor. A curtain of moldy slime covers the south wall. The curtain is very slick and wet. Some of it sticks to your gloves. The slime eats through your gloves. It's beginning to attack your hand, and you feel a hot, stinging sensation like a sea nettle sting. Slime is slowly creeping up your arm. It's reached your wrist. You are carrying a crawling slime, a smooth stone, a fire axe, a bolt cutter, a metal flask, a human hand. The slime is creeping slowly up your arm. It's reached your elbow. Drop slime. You try to scrape it off, but to no avail. It just flows back into place around your arm. It's creeping slowly up your arm. It's reached your bicep. Open flask. Pour liquid on slime. What slime do you mean? The slime curtain or the crawling slime? Crawling. You succeed in pouring the freezing liquid all over your arm. This kills the slime. It also kills you. But then one must make sacrifices, right? You have died. 85 out of 100, which makes us a department head. We're going to restore. We're going to go to slot 2. We're going to cut wire with cutters. We're going to go back looking for things that might be useful against a I'm pretty sure we're never going to need the... Let's drop the cutters. I don't think we'll need them again. Get the Coke and knife, maybe? Maybe the Coke will help somehow. I kind of doubt it. Okay, so we're going to follow the directions of the hand. But this time we're going to pay more attention to when it says there's a curtain of slime and not just keep going. A curtain of moldy slime covers the south wall. The hand points the mutilated ring finger south and grips her shoulder tightly. Save on a different slot. Open flask. Pour liquid on curtain. The liquid splashes onto the curtain. A cold mist fills the room. The slime begins to freeze. Nearly the entire curtain solidifies, shatters, and drops to the ground, revealing an ancient wooden door. Open door. It's locked. The mist dissipates. I didn't bring the key. Break door with axe. The door is surprisingly solid. Restore. No, you know what? Oh, yeah, it's restore. Shoot. Alright. Cut wire with cutters. We just need to bring the damn key. Up. East. East, 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 east until I can't go anymore. Up. Drop. Cutters. Get key. Coke. And knife. Down, north, west, 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 west. Down, down, down. Following now in the wet tunnel maze, the directions of the ring. Mutilated finger guy thingy. Save slot 3 again. Open flask. Throw liquid at slime. Unlock door with key. Open door. South. As you enter, the door closes and locks behind you. Inner layer. The floor here is a stagnant, slime-infested pool of water. It feels to be about 6 inches deep. Ropes or wires tumble down the slope, where they enter a large whitish mass which takes up much of the chamber. The noise is loud here and comes from the mass, which undulates its synchrony with the noise. Wan, sourceless light illuminates the chamber. Set on the wall, incongruous in its surroundings, is a metal box. On one side, a coaxial cable enters the box. On the other, a cable-like appendage leads from the box to the mass. There is a metal cover on the box. Suddenly, the hand leaps from your shoulder into the slime-encrusted puddle. It dives beneath the water. Huh. So there's a big mass in the center of the chamber. This is the inner layer, by the way. This is the main thing that's evil and is controlling stuff. Um, and there's a box. Coaxial cable enters, and a cable-like appendage leaves. Open the box. You remove the cover, revealing a plethora of electronic innards. Most prominent are a socket into which the coaxial cable is plugged, and a connector into which the glistening cable-like appendage disappears. You hear noises outside the door. The hand repeatedly dives and bobs to the surface in one part of the pool near your feet. Search pool. You root around blindly in the gooey, slimy water. You feel something slip thick and slippery. A tentacle? No, it's cold and dead. It seems to be a line of some kind just below the surface. You hear a stumbling noise behind you. Turn and see a hacker staggering into the cavern. The hacker stares at you, shocked. It's you. I gave you my key. I never suspected you'd get this far. Okay. Cut line with axe. You splash around the water, no avail. You can't see the line. The hacker stares at the thing in the cave. I got very suspicious about your problems with the net. I began to trace some coax, found some repeaters and bridges that weren't on the layout charts, and started following them. Anyway, here I am. That thing there, whatever it is, and those wires are interfaced to the whole campus net. And that means it's tied to all the nets, commercial, government, even military, potentially. I can't find the line. Z, I guess. Cut cable with axe. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to win. Coaxial. You neatly slip the cable in two. I guess I better do something. It could be a serious compromise of system integrity if this thing isn't dealt with. He peers at the mass as if evaluating it. He then reaches into a pocket and pulls out a small pair of wire strippers. Z. Time passes. The hacker advances on the mass, apparently planning to cut some of the wires leading into it. As he approaches it, the sound stops completely, and the wires begin a frantic, looping, twining dance. The mass begins to flow towards the hacker almost as quickly as he walks towards it. They reach each other and begin to merge together. He screams, a long, ululating cry that echoes through the cavern. Then he is engulfed. He goes, it's ululating, you know? So anyway, he's been consumed by the darkness. That's fun. Masses bulging, vibrating, and rippling. Cut line. With the axe. I should have brought the bolt cutters. Hit mass with axe. The fire axe is engulfed by the mass and disappears. The mass itself is unchanged. The mass is bulging, vibrating, and rippling. A huge tear is forming near where the hacker was absorbed. I don't know what else to do. You're carrying a knife, 2-liter bottle. Oh, probably throw the stone at it. A master key, a smooth stone, a metal flask, and a flashlight providing light. You are wearing a pair of gloves, rubber boots, and a pair of electrician gloves. The hacker pulls himself out of the side of the mass. As he does, you think you can see many pairs of eyes appear briefly in the semi-transparent mass, watching curiously. Wires and tentacles trail from his body, and tiny, almost rat-like creatures cling to his body everywhere, crawling about like ants. He walks slowly, jerkily towards you. Be one, he says, halting but fervently. Throw stone at mass? You miss. Now you know why few technical schools make it to the Rose Bowl. The hacker grabs for you. Join us. Serve the master, he croaks. Some of the creatures leap onto you, biting at exposed skin. Stab hacker with knife. He is unharmed. It is peaceful within, he remarks. The hacker is surprisingly strong. He drags you towards the thing in the corner, exhorting you to join it, and at last, forcibly, you do. You are not the first or the last. Sometimes during your future, you have changed. It's not you have died, you have changed. Sometimes during your future existence, you remember your old life. At these times, you wish you had died instead. Your score is 90 out of a possible 100 and 522 moves. Graded on the curve, you are in the class of Dean of Engineering. Would you like to restart? Oh, let's restore. I guess 3. Now we're at the wet tunnel. Throw liquid at slime. You can't see that here. Look. Open flask. Throw liquid at slime. Unlock door with key. Drop. Well, let's go back up. I'm trying to get out of this maze, but I think I'm going to have to restore an earlier save. And bring the bolt cutters with me for reals. I have the bolt cutters. The axe didn't seem to help. On this save, I'm missing the keys, which I can probably just get. Okay, cut wire with cutters. Down. Now this thing's going to point me around. It wants me to go north. Then it wants me to go down. Then it wants me to go south. It wants me to go south again. It wants me to go down. And now there's the slime. We'll save. I'll call this slot 3. Again, folks, I didn't beat the very end of the game off screen, so I don't know exactly what's going on. Open flask. Throw liquid at slime. Unlock door with key. Save slot 3. And now I really, well and truly, don't know what to actually do here. Suddenly the hand leaps from your shoulder into the slime-encrusted puddle. It dives beneath the water. Search water. You root around blindly into the gooey, slimy water. You feel something thick and slippery. A tentacle? No, it's cold and dead. It seems to be a line of some kind just below the surface. You hear noises outside the door. Cut line with cutters. You splash around in the water, no avail. You can't see the line. You hear a stumbling noise behind you and turn to see the hacker staggering into the cavern. It's you. When I gave you my key, I never suspected you'd get this far. Cut cable with cutters. Appendage. Tentacle whips out of your way. Huge tear is forming near where the hacker was absorbed. V1, he says, haltingly but fervently. Throw. Okay, so now the hacker's been consumed again. Throw stone at hacker. Thrown. He is unharmed. It is peaceful within, he remarks. The hacker grabs for you. Join us. Serve the mastery croak. Some of the creatures leap onto you, biting exposed skin. I'm going to pause it here, folks, because I don't really know what to do, and I kind of want to figure it out and not waste a ton of time. So I also need to end this video, and at this point I just want to end the LP because I need to go someplace in a minute. So it's like a Halloween tradition. I'm going to have to cheat because now it's like, oh shoot, I've got like one puzzle left to solve and no time. So I'm either going to like pause this and resume it later after putting some thought into it, or I'll just cheat. Either way, folks, we're going to be back for the conclusion here. You won't even notice I was gone. Okay, folks, do feel like a bit of a cheat. I just looked up a little bit of what to do. I think I would have figured it out if I kept playing with it, but I just need to wrap this thing up. There was a box. We need to actually just kind of do things in a certain sequence here. So we open the door, and we go south. The hand is bouncing around, and I was smart enough to pay attention and look where the hand was. And there's a line underground, but for some reason I couldn't find it. And I was like, that seems strange. Can't I just reach down and grab it? But no, it won't let me. So if you open the box, you remove the cover, revealing a plethora of electronic innards. Most prominent are a socket into which the coaxial cable is plugged and a connector into which the glistening cable-like appendage disappears. So we're going to want to remove cable. Coaxial, because we're removing the internet that he's connected to. You unscrew the cable. It now hangs unconnected inside the box. You hear a stumbling noise behind you. Turn and see the hacker staggering into the cavern. The hacker stares at you, shocked. It's you. When I gave you the key, I never expected you to get this car. The hand repeatedly dives and bobs to the surface in one part of the pool near your feet. Search feet. There's nothing there. Search pool. He's talking about, and the hacker is telling us how this monster is connected to everything. You root around blindly in the gooey, slimy water. You feel something thick and slippery. Tentacle, no, it's cold and dead. It seems to be a line of some kind just below the surface. Get line? You pull a length. Oh, that's all we had to do. Jesus. You pull a length of the line out of the water. It's holding a large, heavy snake. It's like holding a large, heavy snake. Cut line with cutters. The jaw of the bolt cutter won't open far enough to fit around the line. And then now the hacker has joined with the thing. Cut line with axe. You strike the line with the axe, making a deep gash in the insulation. Cut line with axe. Your blow cuts through more insulation into the conductors. See, that's an actual electrical line. And I think this is where, if we're not wearing the boots, we die. The line parts. The two ends begin to sink towards the water as they straighten out. The hacker pulls himself out of the side of the mass. As he does, you think you can see many pairs of eyes appear briefly in the semi-transparent mass, watching curiously. Bars and tentacles trail from his body, and tiny, almost rat-like creatures cling to his body everywhere, crawling about like ants. He walks slowly, jerkily towards you. B1, he says, haltingly but fervently. And the big thing that was causing me to not get it was that I was trying to cut the line without picking it up. That was the disconnect that was going to cost us the game. Speaking of disconnect, put line in socket. Because the socket is disconnected. We pulled out the coaxial. Let's put in the electrical line instead. You aren't holding the power line. Ah, crap, get line. You carefully grab the line just as it's about to drop into the water. The hacker grabs for you. Join us, serve the master, he croaks. Some of the creatures leap onto you, biting at exposed skin. Put line in socket. You shove the exposed conductors into the socket, producing a shower of sparks. The tentacle connected to the other socket begins to jerk and twitch spasmodically. The mass it's connected to quivers, and a horrible noise, almost like a huge machine running without oil, issues from the thing. The hacker screams soundlessly and drops into the water. That's too bad. They kind of made fun of the hacker just a bit. You know, in the limited description he got, they told us that he smelled bad and he wanted Chinese food. But he did help us. He was trying to stop this thing. He was on our side. The mass begins to change shape, compacting, darkening. You can briefly see human outlines within the gray, gelatinous mass. They surround something larger, of a shape not human, not animal, like nothing you've seen before. The gelatinous mass solidifies and compacts, leaving behind a litter of smoking debris. In the debris squats a being. Huge, misshapen, it stares at you with baleful yellow eyes. Its scaly wings beat slowly, driving a fetid stench through the stale air of the cavern. A barbed tongue slides across its broken, dagger-like fangs. The smooth stone vibrates. It starts to feel warm. They're basically telling you what to do here. Let's save on slot 1. Let's remove boots. You're no longer wearing the pair of rubber boots. The thing tenses, preparing to leap, its mouth open, revealing not the glistening interior, but a dead black outline like a hole into nothingness. The smooth stone is now glowing with a bright red heat that nevertheless fails to burn you. Wait. The creature leaps, a mountain falling on you, and the darkness swallows you, never to brighten again. The smooth stone, all that's left where you were standing, drops quietly into the pool. The game is just like, come on, man. But anyway, we got 95 out of 100. We actually died instead of changing that time. We got 95 out of 100, makes us Dean of Engineering. So we will restore slot 1. Throw stone at creature. The stone hurtles through the air and is swallowed by the black nothing at its center. The creature howls in pain. The thing tenses, preparing to leap. Its mouth opens, revealing not the glistening terror inside, but a dead black outline like a hole into nothingness. Oops. We died. Let's restore. And let's wait a turn for it to... Now we wait until the stone is red hot, and there's a hole into nothingness. Now let's throw the stone at creature. The stone smashes into the creature, sticking to its Icarus hide. The thing thrashes about, trying to bite at the stone, which is glowing brighter and brighter. Small hands issue from beneath its scales to tug in vain at the irritant. The creature begins to show gaping holes of dark, light-devouring nothingness around the stone. Its wings spread painfully, as though it were trying to fly away and then fold. It widens its jaws in an almost human scream of agony. The black hole of its maw overwhelms it, and indeed the creature appears to be swallowing itself. At last a gray cloud of greasy smoke surrounds the glowing stone, still suspended in midair. Then even that vanishes, and the stone drops to the ground, no longer glowing. The thing is gone. The game's not over yet, although we have 100 points to get the stone. You pick up the stone. It is a long, jagged crack that almost breaks it in half. As you pick it up, you feel it bump to the one side. Then, as you are holding it in your hand, something pushes its way out through the crack, breaking the stone into two pieces. Something small, pale, and damp blinks its watery eyes at you. It hisses, gaining strength, and spreads membranous wings. It takes to the air, at first clumsily, then with increased assurance, and disappears into the gloom. One eerie cry drifts back to where you stand. Something rises out of the mud, slowly straightening. The hacker, mud-covered and weak, staggers to his feet. "Can I have my key back?" he asks. Your score is 100 out of a possible 100 in 525 moves. Graded on the curve, you are in the class of President of the Institute. Would you like to restart the game from the beginning, restore a saved game, or end this session of the game? Well, there you go, folks. That's the ending. Even by Infocom standards, that's pretty underwhelming. I liked this game well enough. Apparently what made this game stand out and be special is that it had moody atmospheric sound effects, but I wasn't able to get those to work. So that was kind of the thing for this game that was like its hook. That and the fact that Infocom didn't really do a lot of horror type of games. They did murder mystery games. Not trying to criticize their fault, but I thought it honestly like Clue for Halloween special? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess. It's kind of a haunted mansion type thing. They do play those movies on Halloween, but not really anything supernatural or scary. This, to me, is more of a, scary Halloween type of thing. And but the Infocom, they did a lot of games that would be kind of similar to Clue. I mean, they did a lot. I got the distinct impression they really wanted to have the rights to Clue, to make Clue the game, but they didn't. So they made different games with very similar kind of settings and stuff. Like Mistfall. Well, I guess just Mistfall. The other ones were more like detective games. I mean, in Mistfall, you're going around trying to solve the murder, but there's more of an emphasis on you being like an actual police investigator and less of it is a spooky mansion and someone's been murdered. Will the murderer get you before you solve the crime? Whatnot. Anyway, throughout this LP, I kind of talked a little bit about not much. I was actually pretty on task for this one, but I did talk a bit about how, I missed the old text games. I spent more time bitching about the new indie games where you walk through the entire plot without having to solve or do much of anything. You just select dialogue choices, and maybe over the course of a game there are 4 legitimate puzzles to be solved. So that was just me being kind of bitchy and grumpy. I do like the idea that even if it's not being executed in exactly the way that I would, had I the energy, skill, or inclination to create indie games, it's nice that indie gamers are out there trying to do something other than just, really emulate the popular games of the day, and that they're doing stuff like we're going to try to have games that have meaning or that have story or that are atmospheric or whatever. I mean, maybe it is just now it's its own little subgenre that's going to have its own cliches and eventually fall out of favor. But whatever. The point was that this game, I was kind of disappointed by the ending. I thought the ending would be a little better than that. I mean, they kind of end on a joke, and that's fine, I suppose. But there were some memorable parts. I mean, it's a text game, so the images are only going to be as strong as they were in your mind. And I don't know if I just read the text straight up. I pronounced the vast majority of the words correctly, but I didn't really go into an effort. I mean, the LP would have been much longer if I tried to read every bit of it in this like really atmospheric sort of way. I mean, I don't know. This is the kind of Grimmeth could probably have done a pretty good LP of this because he does tend to get really into doing like a dungeon master, slightly OTT delivery on some of this kind of stuff, but it's appropriate. I mean, this is text that lends itself very well to that. I pretty much just did a straight up read. But if you got stuck on it and had to think about it for a while, and it was really an idea that clung in your mind, then the idea of this like guy who's piloting a floor waxer who just he won't let you pass, and when you actually do something about the floor waxing machine, he's actually like fucking undead monster who wants to kill you. That's kind of messed up. The whole bit with the professor who was gonna like the professor is going to put you in a pentagram. That was pretty weak because he doesn't like drug you or do anything to incapacitate you. You just are casually like escorted into the center of a pentagram, which he closes behind you, and then if you try to get out of it, he just like removes your inventory, even though you're holding a fucking knife. That was just a bit weak, but other parts of it were good. I mean, overall was a good, atmospheric, fun game. I mean, you have to compare when you're playing these old school games. You have to compare them to the other games that were out at the time, and there's probably more to this that made it stand out than some of the weaker Infocom games. I don't know why I would pick on Ballyhoo of all games, but I vaguely remember there was a game called Ballyhoo, and it's not a game that many people remember. So it was probably one that didn't do all that much to really jump out and be entertaining. So this game was probably that's my my review of the Lurking Horror. Probably better than Ballyhoo. I'm not sure. Anyway, folks, I hope you guys did have a fun Halloween, even though obviously by the time I get all these posted, it will have been over for quite a few days. I will hope to eventually get back to doing more text adventures. I figured the next text adventure I would do is Planetfall, but then I just hit upon, I should do something for Halloween, and I really need to do something that's more of a PC game because I don't have, because I'm on the road at a hotel and I don't have access to stuff. So the stars kind of aligned. What can you say? I'll be back later with more exciting LP adventures. I hope you guys will join me. Thank you very much for your continued support, etc. I'm the Mysterious JG. I hope that I didn't scare you too much with this story of murderous urchins. Although the urchins never actually kill you. I don't think there's any way to get the urchins to kill you. But, murderous floor waxers and dangerous alchemy professors. Woo! Thank you very much for listening. And I hope that you have a spooky day. Bye-bye, folks.